In the quiet corners of a restless city there once lived a woman whose name carried no meaning for the world, and whose face blended into the endless crowd of forgotten souls. She had no roof, no certainty, and no hand to guide her through the cold nights. She slept on worn cardboard under flickering streetlights, listening to the distant hum of traffic that never cared. The wind whispered stories of broken dreams, and the ground beneath her reminded her of everything she had lost. Yet inside her fragile body lived a heart that refused to surrender, a heart that remembered the warmth of hope, even when every breath felt heavy, and every morning arrived with uncertainty. She had not always been this way. There was a time when laughter lived in her voice and light danced in her eyes. She once had a small home, a simple life, and dreams that glowed like distant stars. She believed in kindness and trusted the world until the world turned its back on her. One tragedy followed another. Her job disappeared, the house was taken away, relationships faded, and suddenly the ground beneath her vanished, leaving her to fall into the silence of forgotten streets. People passed her by, everyday eyes glued to their own lives, their own worries, their own comfort. She became invisible, just another shadow resting near the edge of society. Yet in that invisibility she learned the true sound of her own soul. She learned what it meant to survive and what it meant to hold on to dignity even when everything seemed lost. On cold nights when hunger clawed at her stomach and loneliness wrapped around her like a heavy blanket, she whispered promises to herself, promises that one day she would rise, one day she would become more than her pain, more than her broken past, more than the label of homelessness. She refused to let the darkness define her story. Each sunrise became a silent reminder that she was still alive, and where there is life there is possibility. She began to observe the world around her, noticing small miracles. One day as she walked past the library, she paused, her tired feet leading her inside for warmth and shelter. The smell of old books and the calm silence surrounded her like a forgotten memory. She wandered between shelves and placed her trembling hands on stories of people who had risen from nothing, people who had faced storms and emerged stronger, pages filled with words that ignited something within her, a spark that had been sleeping for far too long. She began to visit the library every day, reading, learning, dreaming, feeding her mind. When her body still struggled, she absorbed knowledge like light in the darkness, teaching herself skills, understanding the world, discovering the power of growth. Every page became a silent mentor. Every story became a reminder that she too could rewrite her own fate. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. She found small opportunities, small jobs, moments of purpose. She cleaned, she helped, she worked tirelessly, never complaining, never bowing to despair. She saved every coin with trembling hope, knowing that each small step was building a bridge to a new life. There were moments of doubt, moments when exhaustion whispered that it was easier to give up, but she refused. She remembered the nights when she cried into the cold earth, and the promise she made to herself to rise above her circumstances and become the woman she knew she was meant to be. Slowly life began to shift. Doors that once remained closed started to open. Opportunities appeared. Where there were once walls, she found people who believed in her, who saw not her past but her potential. And with every encouraging word her wings grew stronger. She enrolled in programs, learned new skills, sharpened her mind, and elevated her vision. She began working not just to survive, but to build something greater, something that carried meaning and purpose. Her journey was not easy, but every struggle carved strength into her soul. Years passed, and the woman who once slept on cold sidewalks now stood with confidence and grace. She created her own path, built a business, transformed her pain into power, and her silence into a voice that echoed across many hearts. She became an example of resilience, a symbol of unwavering courage. Her story inspired those who felt lost, those who stood on the edge of despair. Her voice carried warmth, reminding others that no matter how dark the night seems, the dawn is always waiting. She returned to the streets where her past once lived, not as a broken soul, but as a guiding light. She looked into the eyes of the forgotten and whispered words of hope, telling them that their story was not over, that their pain was temporary, and their strength limitless. Her success was not measured in wealth or status, but in the lives she touched, the hearts she healed, and the dreams she awakened. Once homeless, once forgotten, she now stood unstoppable, a living proof that the human spirit can rise even from the deepest shadows. Every scar she carried became a reminder of her journey. Every step she took became a testament to her power. She walked forward with pride, knowing that she had turned her suffering into a legacy, her existence into inspiration. And as the world finally spoke her name with respect and admiration, she smiled softly, remembering the nights when she felt unseen, unheard, and unloved. She knew then that her story had never been about falling, but about rising, about breaking, but becoming whole, about losing everything and still finding the courage to build again. She was no longer just a homeless woman, she was a warrior, a survivor, a creator of her own destiny. Her life whispered a gentle reminder to all who listened that no matter where you begin, your journey, your ending, is yours to define. and in that truth her soul finally found peace, strength, and everlasting light.